I love saying that name. It never gets old. We're back. We're talking with Chloe, Chantel, and Xavier, and we're gonna just jump right in. It's we're in season 2. I don't remember what episode. It doesn't really matter. Today's an awesome day. We're gonna talk about something that's really important and very, very recent. So if y'all don't mind, just introduce yourselves again, and then we're gonna jump right in, talk about what y'all were doing yesterday, and we'll start there.
Sweet. Thank you for having us. So, my name is Chloe. I'm a fashion designer. Do a lot of art. Do a lot of mountaineering. It kind of, exploring healing through art and nature for the most part. And then I'm here with my partner and my sister.
Awesome. Yay, Chloe. Yep, nice. And yeah, so ladies first. I forgot to say that, but you jumped in, Chloe. So Chantel, introduce yourself. Just say hey.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having us, Willy. My name is Chantal, and I currently am kind of in a little transition phase where I just finished a gap year program in South Africa, and now I'm about to head back there to do a yachting course and get into that industry and scuba diving. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
And last episode, I believe it was, I was on the podcast and shared a lot about my life story, so I won't get into that for the introduction. Yeah, me for now.
Awesome. Good to have you back. Xavier, what's happening, brother?
What's up, guys? Yeah, my name is Xavier. I'm an EMT, so currently I'm working in behavioral health. I work at a little psych ward down the street, and then owner of House of Aliens, right? A little fashion brand. So I do a lot of artwork, and then I've kind of used that to explore like my own trauma from like childhood, job-related stuff, and just finding ways to kind of expand more and more, build, and like paintings, clothing, photography, modeling, the whole stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. And Xavier and Chloe, I'm sure Chantel, you would have been if you weren't in South Africa doing your gap year. But we all did a rally at the state capitol of Denver on March 3rd, and I'll never forget that because the photos pop up all over the place, and I see them. And I just wanted to throw that out there. Like we've been working on this stuff for a while. We're in August now, and whenever people read or watch this, might be on a different time frame. But we've been working together since, was it like December of 2025?
Yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago, but it wasn't that long ago. But it's long enough to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to have y'all back on here. And Chantel, and we were chatting before we got in here in the waiting room about your experience yesterday at a fashion show. Do y'all mind sharing about that?
Yeah, I'd love to share. So, for those of you who don't know, I spent a little bit of time a few years back living in Denver. I was homeless, like living on the streets. So yesterday was the first time I came back into the center of Denver. And, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel. And for a time, I mean, it's almost like it's been demonized in a way because of everything that happened. And so it was almost like I was blocking really facing that, if that makes sense. Even though I did do a lot of healing work internally, I didn't actually see the place or experience, the life that I was living before. So I had the wonderful opportunity to be accompanied by Xavier and Chloe to do a little photo shoot in downtown Denver, which was wonderful. I got to off some of their beautiful and House of Aliens beautiful clothing. So we went to the city center and a few places that I used to be, whether that was places I would use or lived in a tent on the side of the road. So I kind of just experienced seeing that life from a place where I'm now clean. I went to, yeah, we actually took a few photos right at the spot where a tent was that I used to like live in.
Wow.
So it was just amazing and kind of mind blowing to see the reality that life was before. And just, yeah, it was very healing because I was facing it instead of just blocking that out and being like, oh, like, don't go back to Denver, like, you know?
Yeah.
It's like just facing the reality and recognizing like it's just a place and things happen there. And another thing that so I went to rehab, and in rehab I learned about basically making new in places where there was a lot of struggle. So I remember in rehab we did like a dancing activity because a lot of people like would be using drugs and at a club and partying when they're dancing, you know, so they have those memories. And we did like the dancing to kind of create new memories with that. So I relate that to yesterday because I was making new memories in downtown Denver. Instead of only having those memories of being on the streets, I was now like with two beautiful people doing a shoot, being creative, having fun. And so I feel like that's just a great next step in the healing journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, and maybe Xavier and Chloe want to share their experience. Like they were very supportive. So maybe they want to share about how it was for them.
Yeah, the main concepts, at least of my artwork and how I've related to my life, is like turning pain into something beautiful, right? And so I had an opportunity to do that, and it fell together like that. It wasn't really even intentional, right? It wasn't really the plan in the first place to go back to like the spot you're sleeping on the street, right? We were just walking around with the camera. We ended up there, and I found it so beautiful at the moment because one of the pieces of clothing that Chantel had on, Chloe had made, and literally on the back of it, it's like 555, right? Which I think represents like growth and like the start of a new era. Right?
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
and yeah.
Yeah. No, I
That's
thought
awesome.
it was a really beautiful experience too. Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of you, Shanti, and grateful for Xavier, for being there and like being able to photograph, but also like having behavioral health experience and that viewpoint with art. And it was really cool because it did just kind of like fall into place. She was wearing, I think, like the first pair of pants that I made that had like just solely like positive messaging. They say love on them, and they have like a cross on them. And then like the corset top too with the like numbers of awakening and healing. And it was just really beautiful to see like the way that Chantal handled it and just like processed and wasn't like didn't seem like triggered or set back in any way. And like I was really happy to be there with her too. So yeah, I'm really proud of you. And just grateful to everybody.
Thanks, Chloe. And I'm really grateful for you both, you know, just being there and supporting me through that and being the people that were with me doing that, because I think that also depends, like through your healing, who you want to share it with and who's actually going to be like a grounding energy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Have you all done much of that, like where you retrace your steps into a place you've been that was dark before?
Yeah, it's really funny. So when I was doing 911, I worked in Aurora, and so there's been like a couple rough calls I've had that were in very specific areas of town, right? And sometimes just whenever hard to explain when, but I would just drive around randomly, and I would always end up in those spots completely unintentionally. So like, there was like this one call, this lady, she got hit by a car. It was pretty nasty. It was like a code in the middle of the road. People were recording stuff. That was like my first bad call. And then just one day, like randomly, I was just hanging out in Aurora, just to myself, driving around. I was actually on the phone with you. And I look over to the side of the road and I realized I was right there at the exact spot it happened. It wasn't the first time I've done that. And so, like, I used to have a fear of crossing the road after that too.
Okay.
Like,
Did they get hit by a car?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
I don't know. That was one case where it's just like subconscious ways of kind of processing through certain life events like that. It's especially good when you can go back to the same place that happened and like view it from a new perspective. And definitely helps to overcome that fear a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. There's for the lack of time, I'll just say there's prolonged exposure is a form of where you expose yourself over time to some of the triggers and like stimulation from trauma. And usually we'll start off by like, what's the worst thing? Being there. Yeah, okay, so that's the worst. What's the second worst thing? Like, being close to there. What's the third worst thing? Being, showing photos of the thing. What's worse than that? Like a little bit less than that. Thinking about it, and so you end up with this like list of like triggers, and you put them all in order, like a ladder, and you would start at the lowest typically, unless you're like probably like all y'all, you just jump in and do the hard part, do the hardest part, go right back to, but some people sometimes, like if it's really, I had a person who was in a traumatic car crash and they were learning to drive again, and so driving was the worst thing on the highway, and then it was like, well, let's watch people on TV driving and practice calming yourself, and like we kind of work up to the part where they're now driving. But what you're saying is true though, where you face the thing you were afraid of, and the place that, and do you mind sharing? I know you were saying, Chantel, about the place having you have a different memory now of that spot, and sounds like Xavier, you do too, of that location. Do you guys mind sharing a little bit more about that, like what it means to have a new memory in one of those dark places?
Do you want to start? Okay. I'd say that, I mean, the main thing is that we form, like, of course, throughout our life, there's always memories and memories and memories. And also revisiting those places, like, memories resurface, So at times, like, sometimes things would just keep coming out of my mouth, like, we would be walking down the street and I would just, like, blurt out, like, different memories as they came to me. So, like, and also those memories are beautiful, even though they were painful, it's like, it's all just a part of my story, and it's in the past, and it's how I got here, to where I am now. But just building those new memories on top of the more painful ones, I feel like it's such a beautiful thing, because that's how you work through it. And if you always have one memory like attached to a certain place, and a memory, like, thoughts bring feelings, right? So if you just have that one memory and you think about the place, then the memory comes, and then you feel a certain way, feel that pain, and then you can start to spiral. So I feel like for me now, if I think about that place, that the freshest memory is this that I made with them, and so that brings me a feeling of like joy and gratitude. And also gratitude is one of like the highest frequency, energies. And so I feel like that's a beautiful thing. And anyone who's working on healing through something, as you said, I think I am guessing we're talking about exposure therapy, because I had a friend who did like exposure therapy. So that's like a beautiful way to work through things. And so I would recommend to anyone who's working through something that's very triggering, as you said, to climb the ladder, because sometimes jumping in straight to the deep end can be challenging. You just need to gauge where you are at personally, because it's a personal thing. But I feel like that's such a wonderful idea and wonderful lesson, is just to make a new memory in that place.
Totally. Yeah. Las Vegas is like that for me when we go back there, because I worked with a bunch of survivors. I was a house fire that killed a bunch of little kids. I went back there afterward, and it gave some clarity. And then I went back there again like a year later, and they had demolished the house. It was gone. I was like, oh. And then there was like flowers there and stuff, and there was still a tree that was there, and that was in front of here. So I was like, oh, okay. And then then I went back a year after that, and there was a new house there, and I was like, oh, all right. Yeah. So I think there's something to that, retracing your steps and kind of going full circle when you're ready for that. Chloe, you were going to say something too. Did you have that kind of experience too? Or you?
Yeah. I mean, so I kind of had to move back to my hometown. It was very difficult to find employment, just after everything else that went on for a couple of years. So I did end up back there, and it was a very similar situation where it's I think a lot of it was mindset and choosing not to make the same decisions as I had in the past. But the other thing that's helped is just rebuilding new memories, and for me that's been exploring nature a lot more, and kind of spending time there and processing in that way, where it's I'm gonna train it out instead of coping in other ways, talking to really bad people. So it is kind of just retraining the neurological pathways and then my habits to be able to handle the environment. I have noticed though, just a lot of other changes with the people that I'm around and that I'm attracting into my life. And that part I think just kind of comes with too, because it's people have just naturally been cut out of my life, and then forming different habits and different coping mechanisms has brought much healthier relationships into my life, to where it is actually manageable. And Chantal was saying, having people that you trust to support you in that environment is also really helpful. So
they're there's a couple of concepts out, or things I always listen for in trauma work, and that's isolation and avoidance. And so by going to the place, even in your mind, where you allow yourself to think about things when they happen, when you're just you're going down the road yesterday, Chantal, and you're thinking about you got new memories. To engage with them is the opposite of avoidance, where you just kind of, I wouldn't say you add anything to them, because if you want to, in my opinion, we stay present all the time. 99% of the time, we just stay present. And then when your memory comes past your consciousness and you acknowledge it's there, and you might feel some stuff and you express it in whatever way feels natural, normal. And sometimes there's nothing there, but it's just a memory, and oh, okay. Sometimes you might be crying. I'm crying. You know, like, hey, you made me cry earlier too. By the way, I didn't say anything. Even in this little podcast, I was like, Chantel, when you were talking. Anyway, we'll look at it later. Yeah.
I did see.
Yeah. I have this strange gift where I can feel people's energy. I think you guys, you all understand that.
Mhm.
And I take that on. I take people's, like, the pain. So when I detect it, I can like feel it, and then I have to go do something with it, which I will. Don't worry about me. I'm not. Even, I don't want to make it about me. But the point being is, the the like, you were around each other all the time. We pick up on that. Our nervous system even detects what's around us, and there's a social element to it. You all know that because you go into a room and you can sense like something's off here, and you don't even know what it is, but you just know something's not right. And it's funny because my thing's like zooming in and out on its own. Like anyway, but so for us to recognize we have this social element to our nervous system, and it's almost like we have a bubble around us where, if you're paying attention, some people like have bad energy or bad vibes or bad spirit or whatever. Um, and I've gotten to the part where I won't even, like, there's certain people I just won't even be around. Cause like they just got like a wicked thing going on, and I'll still love them, but I'm like, see ya. Um, I'll be, where they do the Irish goodbye. I have like an Irish shirt on today from the Florida Keys. Where you just dip out, you know, and like, where do you go? I don't know. He's gone. And but I think we protect our energy or our heart or ourselves, our peace, in recovery from traumatic stuff. And but if you're not aware of that, though, you hang out with whoever, anybody, and anybody, that all that influence is coming in your way. And I think over time we end up ascending, like, and as you grow, your spiritual growth or your awareness grows, and you ascend into a higher level of frequency, and you lose people along the way, like they just fall off. And then I don't know, have you all experienced that?
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Very much so.
As you grow?
Definitely recently.
Yeah, talk about it. Yeah.
Like, barely any of my relationships have been the same. And I realized, like, half of that is just the fact that I used to, like, put up with it and tolerate it in my life. And, like, at this point, I'll go back to my hometown and, like, I'll have friends who, like, I can sense, like, their ego overcoming them in a way that's, like, it sends my nervous system, like, so out of whack.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I still really love the person, but, like, at the point where I am with my own development, it's like, I'm not gonna tolerate dealing with their, like, ego. Like, I don't want to talk to their ego.
Yeah.
Like, I will talk to them as the human that they are, and I love them no matter what.
Yeah.
I understand that
Exactly.
everyone goes through, because I was like that too.
Yeah.
But it does kind of suck still.
It's
having to, like, cut people out.
Yeah. You know, it's not fun. Yeah. Some of them just won't, like, the farther you go in this growth process, you might disrupt people. They don't even know why they don't like you. They just don't. And it's weird. Like, I experiment with it, and because, you know, I'm like doing this advanced human behavior, so I like I'm always doing some kind of social experiment. Social, like, even when I'm out running with the flag, that is a total social experiment. Because I get to, like, experience, I get to profile all these people immediately, and, like, anyway. So long story to say, like, even just showing up into a room or a space, you'll get to the part where you almost bend reality, where people people they know something's different about you, they just can't figure out what it is. And then the farther you go, you attract, like you said, Chloe, you attract people to you. And especially people who have empathy almost always attract psychopaths, sociopaths, like all the toxic people that don't have empathy or don't have enough. And trauma has a strange way of creating, like, either you get bitter or you get better, one of the two. You either grow, and then I think it's a flex when you've been through hell and you still love people. You didn't turn into like the nasty person. Like, you still love people. You still, even though you've been hurt, like that's a major thing, to like a sign of growth. And the last piece I'll just say is you lose the people that are at that lower frequency, like people that are people that are victims. They identify as a victim. People that identify as a survivor. That's like a level 2, if you will. And then when you ascend from there and you're no longer a survivor or a victim, either any which one of those, now you're at this next level. And sometimes people, you lose them and then it feels lonely. But you get your new tribe. Like, for me, Flatirons is a tribe of people, as a collective body. I don't know everybody. There's so many people that go there. But that's a tribe. When I go to Washington, D.C., and I'm talking to people, like people that are really intelligent, they're like building all kinds of interesting things, programs and whatever. And I'm like I'm at a different level now, apparently. It was really lonely for a while because I didn't have anybody, and it can be like that when you're on this faith journey, this growth process where you lose people, and then you have to I think God does that to like help you rely on Him only, and then you grow, and then He's like, oh, I got you, and He brings people into your life, and some joy, the gratitude, like you said, Chantel. Anyway, so what do y'all think about that ascension, the energy reading, and like the tribe of people, all that kind of stuff? What do y'all think about that?
I mean, I definitely agree with you, and I feel like when you lose people, and like you were talking about being lonely, and you find yourself without many people as a community,
Mm-hmm.
like I've also been through that, and I feel like you did mention like to connect with God. God does that to help you only rely on Him, and I think I agree with that. And I also want to add, I feel that it's about reconnecting with yourself. Like, who are you without your tribe or without all of these external influences?
Mm-hmm.
Of course there's external influences still, but
Yeah.
without all the people and the distractions, you reconnect with yourself and find who you are, like truly deep down. And then once you connect with that part, then you begin to ascend even more.
Yeah.
Because you're coming into your truth, and then that in turn attracts the people that are on that similar frequency.
Yeah. Love that. Thanks for adding that. That's totally true. Yeah, good job. Yeah. Yep. It's good. We're all on the path. We're just in different locations, but and so let's talk through, because I know I want to make sure you get on your flight there, Shanta. So for can't be late. I don't like being late. I'm always early. It's forced to have it, So, well, in thinking of what we're gonna do, I wanted to share that we're gonna be, since all y'all are in fashion and modeling, and then also scuba diving and yachting and water based I call those resets. Like when I'm around water, I reset. Like I get back to zero, or nature, I get back to zero, like kind of just grounded. And it's good to talk about what helps. And I think we're going to be, Zach's not on here today, but we're going to be teaching some self-defense, physical self-defense, but also open source intelligence gathering among the modeling community, so especially. And because there's a lot of wickedness that happens in that industry, and to be aware and awake, and to also, I can't share the name of the company, but we're working on, I mentioned it in the back room there, but we're working on a pair of AI glasses for models to wear. And not that everyone wants to wear glasses, because I really don't want to wear glasses, but when it comes to open source intelligence gathering, when we're in a one party recording state, it's legal to record whatever you want. And Colorado is one of those places. And you have to look it up and know the law and stuff. But the idea is that, you know, if we have, let's just say 100 people in Denver have a pair of those kind of glasses, like the AI glasses, like I have the Meta ones. It's just Meta isn't as secure. Like it's Facebook. They take information, you know, and use it for their own purposes. Sometimes it's part of, we signed up for that. But like these ones with the glasses, we're going to be creating some for multiple purposes, but we have the concept is to gather like video and audio and of wherever you're at. So like if you're at behind the scenes at a photo shoot, or you're coming up and you see or hear something and you can click record without really anything, like basically I just click a button and it starts to record, and you may or may not know it is or not, and it's fully legal to do that in the one party recording state. So the concept is to be more safe. And when people know that they're being watched, I just did this like a half hour ago when I was running around Castle Rock. I told everybody, I even recorded it. I'll put some of these up. I was like, hey, smile for the camera. You're on it. And like, and then some people are like, you know, like, and then some people were like, you know, down with America, Mexico. And I was like, what's your, you know, I was like reading their license plate. I'm like, 1XZY257, you know, and I got them like, bye, you know, y'all recorded. But when people are recorded, they change the way that they are. They change because they realize, oh, like, I didn't realize I was being recorded. And I'm like, I didn't need to tell you, but I'm doing a little experiment right now, and you're in it. And but let's just say we have 100 models that have some recording capabilities. And mind you, we want to do it safely and like use it wisely. If you catch something, we do have to talk to the police. We're not law enforcement or anything like that. But the concept is that the more people who are able to observe and report things, or even just the idea that you can, changes the dynamic. It brings gravity. Because watch, when we do a fashion show here in Colorado and we invite people, it will feel different. Okay. I guarantee you it will feel different because, one, I bring gravity everywhere I go, and so do you. And then we're talking about open source intelligence gathering. So we're going to have operators, like tier 1 and 2 operators, like military folks around. They bring gravity too, because they're very awake and aware, and nobody's going to do anything. You can guarantee that. And as far as like physical safety is concerned. And so the goal with, I just wanted to bring this up to y'all, is that we're creating something here. And just like Xavier, you were talking about creating art with the clothes, and Chloe, you too, and Chantel, you're doing it physically, yachting and scuba diving in the wilderness. We didn't talk about that today with the wilderness therapy. I think that's what I called it. Adventure therapy. That
yeah.
kind of. that's super cool. You're creating, you, all three of you and myself included, we're creating things from what was like destroyed, the ashes. You're making something out of it. So that's exactly how, like, if you look through the Bible, not, it doesn't need to be like a preaching moment, but I'll just say this: in the beginning, there was nothing. Apparently, there was void, and then God created everything from that. And there's arguments on how it did and what. We don't have to get off into that. The concept is the same, though. It's like we had nothing, and then we created something. And I love when I see people create stuff from nothing. And it doesn't even need, they don't need to be a spiritual person to do that either. Like, people do that every day. But it's just very cool that we get to do it. What do y'all want to do in Denver next time that Chantel's back? Or we're going to South Africa. Maybe we'll go there. Or maybe do both. Yeah, I got a passport. I fly free. American, baby. But yeah, so what do y'all want to do with just, take 10 minutes, and I know you got to go at 10. So take 10 minutes, talk through what y'all want to do with this. Because there's some tragedy, but there's also some triumph that we get. So what do y'all want to do with it?
I've been working on a speech.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Do it, brother. Yeah.
It'll come out eventually. No, it's just kind of like my story was like
awesome.
I like to put it this way. Like, the first painting I ever made was meant to be the last one I ever made. And then it came out really well. And
wow.
I wanted to see what the next one looked like. And that, at that point in time, years ago, that was the only thing that kept me for tomorrow. And then I made that one. And I wanted to see the next one look like.
Yeah.
Just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And then started working on clothes, and then I started putting the clothes on people and taking pictures, and then
yeah. Let's do an event. I'm gonna wedge something in here. Let's do an event where all of y'all have what you offer, and we'll have it be public. A public event. I don't know if it's a fashion show or if it's a speaking event where you share your story. Or all of y'all share your stories. Remember, we can do a lot. We can do video. You can tell your story on a video with different camera angles if you want to do something like that. But I think sharing your stories is powerful. So let's be creative and think what's fun. I saw a thing the other day. It was lasers. I think I might have tagged you, Chloe. It was like it was super cool. It was like, these lasers and people were dancing. I was like, let's do a fashion show like that where, like, the lights are all down and the lasers come out. And anyway, it seemed like it would be very cool. And to hear the stories, and then just watch. When you share your story, Xavier or Chloe or Chantel, like, you'll see other people are going to do the exact same thing.
I've seen it. It happens. It's like,
yeah. I think that could be amazing. Like, putting together an event that's mixes so many different creative aspects. So even like his speech and sharing our stories and fashion show, and like kind of putting that all into one.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. Yeah. Well, and if we're raising awareness for human trafficking, people who are caught in human trafficking, we'll have operators. I'm bringing those folks, and so they bring gravity, and they also need a job. They need purpose, and so in the art and entertainment industry, there's so much darkness that, where you want to start. We start the fashion industry.
You start to see the patterns emerge and certain people doing certain things. You'd be surprised. I'm blocked on Instagram by a couple of people.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, they're like, no, we don't listen to you. I know, right? People block me all the time. Like, whatever, man. Whatever. Yeah, I know. People just don't even know. They're not curious anymore. That's a thing I say all the time. Is just just be curious. Just stop with the labels. Stop with the, the political sides and everything. You can be Republican. You can be Democrat. Who cares? It's not even like it. When I run around with the flag, I deal with that all day long. People, they want to categorize me or whatever, and they never really ask. So that's interesting. I only had one guy ever ask me, "Why do you run with the flag?" One person.
Crazy.
Yeah, everyone else they like make it up, and I'm like, I just have fun with it. If they ask me, I'll tell them, but people don't usually. So just be curious that's also a trauma thing too. Is like a attitude to have. Just be curious about what's next. What does this mean? What's going on? And then people get very certain, and then they usually stick their foot in their mouth because they think they know something about you, or they think they have you figured out, and then they find out they know nothing about you at all. And so being curious, I think, is cool, because it's a way of living. We have like certainty on this side and curiosity on this side, and one's very rigid, the other one's very flexible. So if you're curious, it's like, Chantel's getting ready. I know we got to go like 5 minutes. I pay attention to the time for you. So she's got to go. Being curious is like, I wonder how I'll get to the airport and make it in time and get all that stuff done. Being certain is, being certain is like, I'm going to be so late.
And then you create that reality.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a beautiful reminder, I think, for everyone, for me, definitely.
Yeah.
Just to stay curious and stay open-minded and open to learn,
about yourself. And like you even said it, Chantel, about being, you were curious what it would be like to be in that space yesterday in Denver. And then look what happened. If you were certain, you wouldn't have went, for one. And if you did, you'd be kind of freaking out because you'd probably be like, oh my gosh, it's going to be terrible. And we do create our own realities in a lot of ways. And we're not God, but like you can, the way you frame things. And I don't have time to unpack this, but there's a really cool thing called framing wars, where you define yourself before you go somewhere, or people will define you. Or another way to say it is they're in your movie, or you're in their movie. Maybe you're an extra in their movie, or you're the main star. They're in your movie, they're extras in your show, And when you go into a fashion show or you perform, you have to define who you are ahead of time and like lock that in, and it's not a pride thing. It's just more of like, defining who you are is part of your remembering who you are before you go somewhere. And, you go, you're flying to South Africa. Who are you? On the plane. Who are you when you step off the plane? And otherwise, if you forget, then it feels scary. Like you forget, who are you? You've been through a lot. Y'all are some warriors.
You too, Willy.
I know. We're together. Yeah. We're a new kind of gang. But a good one. Yeah. But yeah, identity work is where it's at, though. Is remembering where you are, remember who you are. Sometimes you don't know. So Chantel, you said it exactly. Like you have to learn who you, like, figure it out. Sometimes we learn from other people. Like I grew up thinking I was a throwaway kid, and I lived like that for 30 something years, thinking that. And then I was like, wait, no, that's not true. Like just because my parents didn't care doesn't mean that, like, that's not actually who I am. Like I have a lot of things I bring, and just like you guys, you have a lot of things you bring to the table of life. And to do that identity work, it does take, you have to be alone usually. And I'm with you, Chloe. Go out in nature.
Oh, yeah.
Just go out in nature. You're there by yourself, or you're with other people, but you get a sense of like there's no more distractions. There's like good frequency, in nature. And all right, so last piece. We got 1 minute. So what do y'all want people to know after? We're gonna do this again, but what do y'all want people to know today? Each person.
I think, well, along the lines of like identity, I always think about it as like, if there's a way that you think and believe people perceive you, you're always going to act in that way, and they will in turn perceive you like that. So I would say, like, yeah, make sure that you are strong in your sense of self, able to set boundaries, and then coming into like public spaces without expectation of people seeing you in a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a great one.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Chantel?
Yeah, I'd say what I want to tell people for today is just to get to know yourself. Like, take this one step at a time, whether you do, like for me, every evening I do a tiny bit of journaling. Like, that's my tool. And I mean, that doesn't work for everyone. So finding that one thing that helps you reconnect with yourself and start to go inward, even like 5 minutes a day. That's what I have to add.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, integrate what you're learning and seeing and feeling, thinking. It's awesome. Yeah. What about you, Xavier?
I would say I'm a firm believer that one of our purposes, at least as humans, is that we are the archetypes of our own reality, literally and figuratively. And it's an individual thing, and it's a collective thing. And I think a lot of the issues we see in the general public, things that affect the whole earth, it's people aren't bonded together. We're not creating a reality together, right? Everyone's trying to create their individual little world, and they're not considering the people around them, how people are affected.
Yeah.
Cohesion.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. We got Zach trying to join in here. Let's let him in here, and then we'll like say something, and then we'll end it. Okay, hang on. Where's he at here?
There we go.
Zach. We were just, hey, we're just letting you on to like make fun of you, brother, because we're about to end.
Yeah, I was picking up on that. I'd been on the phone, and then I told the person I was talking with, I was like, just so you know, like, I'm supposed to be in this podcast like almost an hour.
Hey, no worries. Yep. Well, give us like a little nugget, because we're gonna end here because Chantel's got to fly and everything. Give us a nugget. What did you learn today? What do you want people to know today specifically?
Me?
Yeah. Yep, Zach. Yeah. Give us a nugget, man. Yeah, a little nugget of just a little gold nugget of things to learn today.
Yeah. So first off, I want to apologize for joining late, but so I don't know exactly what you're all talking about. I'd say one thing I think is really important is making sure that one of your main focuses is taking care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, it makes it extremely difficult to help and take care of other people. And I know that from experience. So when you take care of yourself and set yourself up in the best position possible, you can actually help people even more than you would think. So
yeah, Hey, that's great. Hey, y'all, this is funny. I always do this to you. I'll do it to everybody, but I just threw him in there. I was like, tell us something. I have no idea of what. I did that to him in DC. I introduced him as an actor. And like, yeah, he's an actor, and then he had to explain it.
After getting me into the event by telling me that I was your security.
Yeah, and it worked. Yeah. It was like he's with me. He's my security guy. Yeah. Good job. Good job, brother. And then I was like, hey, he's a model and a different kind. And then now he's going to Italy as a model. So like designing reality.
Yeah, that's pretty. I'm pretty excited about that. Get to go to Sicily towards the end of August.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, man. Yep. We'll talk more about that. All right. Well, let's break here, and I'm going to be back on in like 45 minutes. I'm going to go over climb. So if anybody wants to join back in or whatever, we're gonna go off, go into that. But thank you all for being here.
So I will. I'll be home within about 5 minutes, so I'll definitely be a part of that.
Right on. Yeah, Roger that is what we should say.
Are you available for a quick phone call afterwards?
Of course. Yeah. Call me. I'm just hanging out. I'm in my Colorado spot. I got my feel good neon light back there, and we're having a great time. So, all right, y'all. I'm gonna end the stream. Ready?